Hey everyone, thank you for joining today's press conference. We're joined by New York Red Bulls head of sport Jochen Schneider and head coach Troy Lesesne. We will start with an opening statement from Jochen and coach. For those joining on Zoom, please use the raise hand function when you are asking your question. Please say your name and publication and who your question is directed towards. Journalists in person, please do the same. Just raise your hand. We will start with Jochen. Jochen, you have the floor.
Thank you, Zach. So good afternoon, everybody. Thanks for joining. Definitely not an easy day for us. We mentioned in our press release that I had several conversations with Gerhard over the last days and weeks, and we came now to the common agreement that is in the best interest for both parties to part away. Let me also say a few words to Gerhard, as I did this morning to the team. We are really thankful for the work and the commitment he did for our club. We know it has not been easy for him living so far away from his family. He led our team 2 times into the playoffs, into one US Open Cup semifinal. He led the team to a franchise history on the road last season. So very thankful for that, what he did as a coach, as a leader, and as a human being. But together with him, we took this decision. Also, there are still 2/3 of the season to play in MLS. We still have ambitious goals, which we want to reach. Not only in MLS, but also in the US Open Cup, which we will play tomorrow, and in the Leagues Cup. And we came to this decision. I'm also, on the one hand side, that it's always sad to take such a decision. We are also excited to have Troy Lesesne next to me as our head coach for the remainder of the season. We're really excited to have him on board. He's an impressive coach. And although he's still a very young guy with a ton of experience as a coach, 19 years working as a coach, he's already more than 1.5 years within our building. He worked incredibly well with our players. He's a man who can inspire people, motivate people, and also develop players. So we're excited to having him here with us. And I can assure Troy, you will get all the support from the whole club, the leadership team, Dennis Hamlet, myself, that we turn the season into a successful one. And well, I want to give you the floor. All the best.
Thank you, Jochen. Let me start by saying that this is not in any way how I envision this opportunity coming about, and it's very important for me to also say that Gerhard is the reason that I'm here. I mean, he's the one that hired me. He's the one that saw something in me, and I learned an incredible amount from him. So I'm thankful for him and everything that he's done for me in my career. But I'm also ready for this opportunity, and I'm also extremely excited about this opportunity. And for Oliver Mensloff, Mario Gomez, Jochen, Dennis, Mark, they see something in me, and they see something in my coaching profile that I don't think that a lot of other clubs at the first division level probably would look into. I'm not a household name. Whenever I spoke with Jochen and Mario Gomez recently, I don't have the name of Mario Gomez. I can't walk into any room and everyone knows who I am. And that's okay. But as Jochen just said to you, 19 seasons I've been working as a coach and honing my craft, and to be prepared for an opportunity like this whenever it comes along. So I'm going to take it with everything and put everything into it that I could possibly do for the club. I think that we have a team right now that's capable of doing more than where we currently are on the table. And what I hope for all of the players and all of the staff to see is that we have to, and our supporters, to get better connected and move forward together in a positive way. So I'm incredibly excited about the opportunity and look forward to moving in a positive direction.
We will now go to questions. First hand I saw was Michael Batista. Michael, you have the floor.
Jochen, Michael Batista, New York Sports Nation, and U.S. Soccer. I'm kind of curious, in the press release the team released today, it sounded like Gerhard Struber knew he wanted to leave the team at some point this year. Why was he brought back for 2023 in that case?
I mean, we are beginning of May now, and the season started, I guess, 4th of January. There's a long period in between, and things develop and have developed, and this is the reason why he came back. So that was not a discussion at the beginning of the year, but things, as I said, developed, and that's why we then took this decision.
Next, we'll go to Tom Bogert.
Just in regards to the coaching search or what's next, what does the group need to do differently to take the next step that wasn't happening under the previous regime? And when will, I guess, a coaching search come to be with Troy taking over for the rest of the season, or just anything in there that you can say?
It's a question to me?
Yeah.
Well, first of all, every coach has his own approach, how he is doing things, how he's seeing things, how he's putting the team together. So this is up to Troy and his team now. The good thing is he's already, as I said, more than 1.5 years in the building. He knows the players in and out. He knows the staff in and out. He has seen all the games. It's completely different if somebody would step in from outside who haven't been with us the last 18 months. So that's completely different. And what was the second question? Sorry.
Just in regards to when a coaching search will begin, or if it's more, just kind of focused on Troy right now, and what you're looking for the group to take the next step.
It's totally focused on Troy and giving him all the support, him and his coaching team, all the support they need to be successful. And I'm quite experienced and a long time enough in this business. Many coaching careers have started like this. So we're totally focused on supporting him and the team, and that's it.
Next, we'll go to Mark Fishkin.
Thanks, Jochen, and welcome, Troy. Jochen, can you talk about the role that the event on April 8th played in the decision to remove Struber from his role? And in addition, can you talk about the alignment that you had with the folks in Austria about making the change?
Well, let me start with the second question. We are always aligned. I have a very good communication with Mario Gomez, who I know since he was an academy player at Stuttgart at the age of 15. So we have always had a wonderful relationship over these 20 years now, and there's a constant exchange, and we are happy to get the support from him and his team. And the first question. If the incident, which unfortunately happened on April 8th, would have had any impact on this decision, I can say no. Otherwise, we would have taken it immediately. We talk about other circumstances, which we also mentioned in the press release, which brought us to the decision which we took.
Next, we'll go to Jeff Carlisle.
Thank you. My question is for Jochen. In looking for the next coach, I mean, how critical is it that stylistically it kind of matches the Red Bull high pressing ways? I mean, is that kind of a prerequisite for any candidate that might be applying?
Honestly, the candidate is sitting next to me, so I don't need to talk about a candidate. He is sitting here. He has our full support, and I mean it's clearly mentioned in our DNA how we wanna play, and this style of play led us in the last 2 years into 2 playoffs. With all the difficulties we had, we reached the playoffs twice, and we do everything to reach the playoffs again, and then it's up to the identity. The style of play is clear, but now it's up to Troy to develop the game, to develop the players, to give his input. have at the end of the day a successful team on the pitch, and that's up to him.
Next, we'll go to Gustavo.
I want to ask Jochen Schneider, what do you see after 2 months of the season? The needs, the role, the roster needs to be improved.
Well, every team, doesn't matter where you stand in the table, always wants to improve the roster and increase the quality of the team. And this is a permanent process we are in. And together with our scouting team, we're checking the opportunities we have to strengthen the roster. The window will open on July 5th. There are some limitations in MLS. With the salary cap, so we need to check what we can do, but I can assure that we will do everything to strengthen the team for the second part of the season.
Next, we go to Matt Harmon.
Matt Harmon, Red Bull Radio. Coach, what was your message this morning to the team, knowing that you are the head coach, and how does it feel to be stepping into a week where you're seeing two of the club's biggest rivals in DC United tomorrow in the Open Cup and NYCFC over the weekend?
Yeah, so the message was really simple. I mean, I think that we have to immediately get to work, right? We're not where we want to be, clearly, in the league table, and then we have a knockout match versus DC United tomorrow in the Open Cup. And so the message was quite clear. I want to use this as a moment, as a reset for individuals that have any topics or anything that maybe they're leading to frustration coming into where we are in the season, for the team itself. Anything that's negative in any way, let's use this moment right now as a reset so that we can move forward again in a positive direction towards a really big round against DC United in the Open Cup tomorrow night. And then certainly we know what's on the weekend in a derby versus New York City. So I think that was the first point to hit. We also need to see action behind this. And the action will come from a couple of the questions I think that Tom and Jeff may have been alluding to, in terms of just as soon as we can start to implement some sort of evolution in our style of play. I think that that's extremely important for this next step for us. We have a style of play that's uniquely different than any other club really in the MLS. A couple other clubs have similar philosophies, but I would say for what we want to now evolve to and what we want to start to add into the mix, we all know the reality of where we are in terms of scoring goals and creating chances. I think we create chances in certain parts of our style of play, but in other parts of our phases of play, we have to improve. With the ball, we have to be a little bit more clear, and I think we have to be a little bit more creative as well. So these are some of the things that we have to get to work to immediately. And it started today on the pitch, and then hopefully it's going to transfer tomorrow night in some ways towards DC United.
Next, we'll go to JJ.
Hi, Coach. JJ from Bad Dog Sports. A lot of the supporters on social media, as well as the New Mexico United fans, have said you would be the right man to change the atmosphere here and the environment. Can you elaborate on what they mean?
Well, I'm really appreciative of that, number one, because I think that speaks volumes to the type of connection that not only myself, but the staff that I had in New Mexico, we were able to connect with the supporters, with the front office, with the players, everyone involved in that club. And that was a pivotal 3.5 years of my career, is to understand what being a head coach and a sporting director in New Mexico, what that responsibility is all about. So, what I hope for moving forward, what that means for our club here is that we can be more connected, that we can take steps towards making them feel like they have a voice within our club. And I think that's what makes Red Bull so again uniquely different from any other club in MLS, is just how we have the support of our community here in New York.
Next we'll go to Christian Ortiz.
Good afternoon. I have two questions. The first one is, usually coaches write reports. What is the current state of the team right now? And my second follow-up question is, did you feel that Coach Struber had the necessary resources to be successful this season? Thank you.
It's this one for me.
The first part's for you, and then I think the second part's for Jochen.
Yeah, I think the current state of the group, it's a great question. I think everyone is highly motivated, including myself, obviously. Keep in mind, this is a team that the majority of the makeup of our roster right now finished fourth last year, and many times during last season we were in first place. We lost a big piece in Aaron Long. I think we can all recognize that. But we also have added some really, really valuable pieces as well in the offseason. And outside of some injuries that we have currently, which we can't take away the power that some of these players that are out of the roster right now hold in our team. When we get everyone healthy and even before then, we can be in a better position than we currently are.
Next, we'll go to Eric Freelander.
Hey, Troy, this is for you. It's been pretty clear that Gerhard had a frosty relationship at best with the supporters. How can you try to rebuild that relationship, both as a culture of the club and yourself with the supporters, and kind of just get everyone back on the same page, kind of back to what it was in kind of 2017, 2018?
Yeah, thanks for the question, Eric. I hope the one thing that you get from me today and moving forward, and our supporters get from me today and moving forward is what you see is what you get from me. I'm a genuine person. If you're invested in the club like I'm invested in the club, I want to have a conversation, and I want to be on the same page as you and fight this together to get this club back in the position that we all hope that it can be in. That doesn't mean that it's all going to go perfectly. Tomorrow night might be the next challenge we have to face together, but at least we can face it together again in a genuine fashion. And it didn't always go perfectly in New Mexico, but I think most of those supporters we were able to connect in a real way, and that's part of my job, and that'll start today.
Next, we'll go to Daniel Rebane.
Sorry, Coach. How you doing, first of all? And my question is kind of a two-parter, but how would you like to leave your imprint on the team? Will we see you go back to the 3-4-3 that you ran back in New Mexico? And how can you kind of unlock this team offensively that's only averaged about 0.6 goals a game?
Yeah, it's a great question. I think systems of play, to me, it depends on who's available. So we'll have some flexibility there, and I hope that we can find the right system where there's consistency there, so the players feel comfortable. Right? That's a big part of the system. But the style of play, again, we want to make sure to never lose the identity of Red Bull, but continue to take steps forward to be more creative, to be able to hopefully create more chances and more goals, as you alluded to. And that's going to take some time. It's the hardest part of the game, but we also have to spend more time on it. And I think that not only myself, but everyone in my staff, the players, Jochen, Dennis, they're committed to that. And so we have to take, again, the first step towards being intentional with that, and that's what we're going to do.
We have time for two more questions. First, we'll go to John Lupo, and then we'll go back to Michael Batista. John, you have the floor.
Thank you, Zach. Quickly, a question for each of you. Jochen, why did you feel like now is the right time to make this change, and what qualities do you feel like that Troy has that will make him successful? And for you, Troy, just to sort of follow up on what was just asked, you mentioned that the team needs to evolve their style of play, and you feel like this team has more potential that can be brought out of it. How do you connect the two together so you can start getting the results that you want to have?
Yeah, thanks, John, for the question. I mean, first of all, it's when you go into a season, it's an ongoing process that you evaluate. Where are we? How do we play? How do we perform? And I mean, no doubt that we couldn't be happy with the outcome. And we don't need to talk about expected goals, etc. I prefer the ones which we really score instead of the expected ones. But you've seen all the games probably as we did, and we could have easily had more wins, but we didn't realize them. So it's an ongoing process, and finally. We came to that decision now after the Philly game that together with Gerhard that we need to do something. And coming back to Troy, I mean, I expressed it in my first statement. He's an inspiring coach, incredible person, really works well with the young players, can develop them. He's a very good leader, bringing every day fantastic energy into the building. And these are the reasons why we are convinced that he's the right one now for this job. And it's not an easy one, but with all the support from the club and the fans, we will make the turnaround. I'm pretty sure about that.
And we'll finish up with Michael.
My question's for Coach. We know tomorrow is the US Open Cup against DC United. You, in particular, know how important that tournament can be for a team. Everyone knows about the 2019 run with New Mexico United. 2006 with Charleston Battery, you were playing for Charleston and you got into a game with FC Dallas, got to penalty kick shootout. It meant a lot to the team, it meant a lot to the fans. With where the team stands right now, how important is that game against DC United? How much can it change the season?
Before I answer that question, I want to come back to John. I didn't answer. He had a two-parter for Jochen and me, and so just one more time. I think we in so many phases of play and our style of play, I think that we feel really good about what we're doing against the ball, in transition, set pieces. With the ball, we just have to provide a lot more clarity, a lot more. We have to have a lot more control in the match, and then hopefully some more creativity in these moments. So I think that's again going to take time, and we have to spend a little bit of time to get us in the position we want to in that phase of play. But that's a big part of that answer, John. So I appreciate that question. And then to the Open Cup, I mean, you're right. The Open Cup, especially for a coach in my profile, I'm always the guy who was in the second division, right? So I understand what it means to every club that competes in that from a different standpoint. And it's a special competition. Keep in mind, last year, I think Gerhard set the tone and said, this is something we want to go and win. And he put a lot of time and energy towards making sure we took that extremely, in a very serious fashion. Do you know if I hit a penalty against? You did. Thank you. Okay, just for the press, they need to hear that. Thank you. I think that's important to hear, because I only played about 30 games, John. So if one of the 30 games in my professional career I had a big moment, we need to say that for all of those that know that I'm not a household name now. But I would say that we're going to take this competition very seriously tomorrow night, just as we did last year. And I think it's a proving ground for some of the players that might get an opportunity tomorrow night that haven't so far this year. Again, with one eye on Saturday in New York City.
Thank you. Jochen, Troy, thank you for joining us. We appreciate your time. Everyone, we'll send out quotes and audio shortly. Everyone, thank you for joining us today. Everyone, have a good rest of your day.